Are you looking to make your property listing stand out above the rest? Well, it all starts with quality professional photography. And that's exactly what today's episode is about. Welcome back to the Proventure Podcast, the show where we are dedicated to offering educative information to our listeners, no matter where you are in your real estate journey. I'm your host, Giancarlo Carangel, joined with my friend and partner, Anthony Lodgia.
Welcome. Happy to introduce our guest here today, Nathan Von Egmond.
What's up,
is
guys?
truly a leading expert in this field.
Thank you.
What's up, Nathan? What's up?
What's up? Here we are. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Nathan is a friend of mine and a photographer that we have been using for the last 6 or 7 years, since 2018, I believe. And he has a wide range of experience when it comes to real estate photographies. He's worked with real estate agents, property managers, and has photographed, I would say, hundreds, if not thousands, of listings in the Montreal area. So, Nathan.
Yes.
Give us, our listeners, a little bit of background of who you are and what got you interested in photography.
Sure. So my name is Nathan Von Egmond. I'm a commercial photographer. I shoot a lot of real estate, architecture, cars, things that need visual representation.
Yeah.
So basically, I started. My passion is cars. So I used to make these little model cars, and I would pose them outside, and I would take pictures of them with a small little digital camera. And I liked it so much that I was like, okay, well, you know what? This is kind of fun. I'm going to get another digital camera that's a bit better, and I'm going to shoot that and shoot these little cars and see what's up. I started to really enjoy it, and also I started to photograph like life around me. So my friends, my parents, parties, stuff that I would be at. And it really started when one of my mom's friends, who's a real estate agent, she asked me to come shoot a house.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, cool, I'll do that. And it was this beautiful house on the lake shore in Point Claire. And it was on the water. I went there. It was it was a Nikon D40 with an 1855 millimeter lens. Shot that, and I was like, okay, this is interesting. I can enjoy what I do and also make a bit of money out of it. So I was like, okay, here we go. So that kind of started it all, and I mean, I can go on. There's a.
I mean, what made you focus on the niche of real estate photography? Because I know you work with a lot of real estate agencies, property managers. You're all over the place. I spoke to you the other day. You were shooting up in Mont-Tremblant here. So
yes, sir.
What made you focus on this niche exactly?
It's kind of interesting because it's both something that I went towards and something that kind of came towards me. I really enjoy architecture.
Yeah.
Houses, design, spaces, and being able to photograph that in a way where I can make it both relatable, something that can be seen, there's context, something that that can be shown nicely in a good way and in a good angle. That's what I'm interested in. So just building that and working on that craft to get something that works. That's what I've been doing.
It's like kind of like working in harmony, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. And you know, my experience with you is the clients love you.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we love you.
And we love you.
And we
love you guys.
And we love you.
Yeah. But like, you know, whatever place we send you, you make your introductions.
Yep.
People feel really warm and they're like, wow, Nathan, every time, like Nathan's amazing.
Yeah. The smile, the greeting.
Thank you.
Everything.
Yep.
The energy. Energy is huge, you know. Energy is huge. So
And we often talk about like working with people we like.
Yeah.
And you're definitely a part of that. And like your quality of work is super high end.
Thank you.
And seriously, I've never had a complaint against you.
Cool.
Like in a sense where people look at the photos and they're like, I think this property is amazing. Like who even took those pictures? Like how did they, like people who live in the home.
yeah.
I hear that all the
Anthony,
time.
is this my place?
Yeah. Yeah, they want to like, oh, I saw the pictures, I want to stay.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like, no, you're selling your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what do you do to prepare for a photo shoot?
Espresso. But to be more technical, having the right equipment really makes a difference. So I've got like this heavy duty tripod that I lug around everywhere, and that thing is solid. So I can bring it. Well, I bring it everywhere. Camera's not going to move. Equipment. So tripod, camera. This is my camera right here.
This is the camera.
The files on this camera that this camera produces are excellent. So having the right equipment and the lens, the optics are very sharp. So having the right equipment to take photos, to hold your camera, and then after post-process, so I use Adobe Lightroom and I use Adobe Photoshop. And once I'm done that, to deliver the pictures to the clients, to you guys.
Yeah.
And I bring it towards you guys with Dropbox.
Yeah, and I think it's important that you mentioned that because, like, you know, good presentation isn't necessarily taking good photos. There's a lot of editing that goes on in the photos, color correction, brightness, you know, and I think that, like, people think that taking, for example, pictures of whether they're renting a property out or presenting their property, taking it with the latest iPhone, although they do have good quality cameras, but there's no editing process involved with that. And editing is definitely a huge part of it.
Oh, absolutely.
The color correction, the brightness. I mean, I remember when you were taking pictures of a listing, and I was like, dude, don't you want the lights on? And you're like, oh, no, don't worry about it. Yeah, remember that? Don't you want the lights on? He's like, no, I don't need lights on. And then those pictures came out as bright as day, you know, and that's all part of the editing process. So it's really important, you know. And so tell us, you know, like, we spoke about we spoke about editing here, but what are the key elements that make a real estate photo stand out to a potential renter or a buyer? Because it is about first impressions, right? So what are the key elements that would make a real estate listing photography stand out?
Right. So I think there are a few important aspects. One would be context.
Okay.
So if I'm going to shoot a house, say I'm outside, shooting the front, I want to see what's kind of around.
Yeah.
So like grass, whatever. And then once you get inside, shooting a room and to see where that room leads to. So you have your like establishing shot of that room and then another, okay, well, where's that door go to? And then so kind of making a flow of...
Like a tour, a virtual tour.
Kind of like a tour, exactly. So people can understand visually
what's going on,
kind of like the floor plan basic thing. Perspective is also very interesting. So say I have a very long room and I'm shooting it, if I were to shoot the long room at a low angle, I'm not really going to see what's going on at the end. So perspective really helps. So what I would do is I would lift the camera up so I can see the whole room and basically make a vanishing point at the end. That would be another aspect. Another aspect, like you said, is color correction.
Yeah.
So if my walls are white,
make them bright.
Make them white.
Yeah, make them white.
Exactly. So if the walls are yellow, make them yellow.
Yeah.
So
and even I think like for the dark part of that, dark aspect of that too, like, you know, you don't want the dark things in the room to overshadow the picture, right? You must want it to be there, but not make the picture dimmer. So color correction is definitely key.
Yeah. Absolutely. Balance. So if there's something big in the room, I don't want that to be take all the gravity from the picture. Yeah. Kind of move it around, like be dynamic and balanced. At the end of the day, a good picture is balanced.
Yeah. And I mean, I've seen you photograph a bunch of my properties here. And, you know, for example, depending on the size of the room, you take, you know, different angles of the same room. And it really gives a good representation of the space, you know, and the room, right? And just to go back to what you were talking about before about giving a good representation of the property, you know, when we present a property virtually, right, I like to do it as you're doing a full walkthrough with the photographs. Yeah. So facade, entrance, hallway, kitchens, living room, you know, and really flow through the house as if you're walking to it, you know. And I think, because I've seen a lot of, you know, not to discredit anybody, but I've seen a lot of people, you know, list properties for sale or for rent, and the photos are all over the place, man. First picture is the facade, second
Yep.
picture is the backyard, and then next thing you know, you're in the bathroom and the kitchen, and there's no flow to it.
Flow is important, my friend.
Flow is important.
Absolutely.
And the pictures are the first impression you have of the property, right? So it's the thing that people are going to be drawn to the most,
Oh, absolutely.
right? So Nathan, like you've been doing this for a number of years.
Yes.
How has this evolved over time versus from when you started to where we are today?
It's like drone photography, virtual tours. Like there's been tons
yeah.
of evolution here.
So there's kind of two types of evolution. There's or maybe three rather. The first one is technical. So understanding the camera, understanding lighting, understanding the whole technical process from shooting to delivery, even actually before shooting, coordinating. Because when you're shooting like 4 homes a day,
Yeah.
you gotta know. Like this morning, I was in Vaudreuil, and then I was in Terrebonne. That coordinating all that stuff is
It's a lot of miles, a lot of gas, and a lot of espresso.
A lot of espresso. So so that's definitely important. Also, like the personal development part is when you're stepping into a bunch of people's homes.
Yeah.
You're there to not judge. You're there to just be yourself and be open with these people who are there. So that part has been interesting. At the beginning, I was very shy and like walking around like, oh, I don't know how to be around these people or whatever. Like, who are you? And they're like asking me that, who is this guy? Who's in my house with a camera? Who is this guy? So just becoming very comfortable in new spaces and with other people and just being myself and being you. And I think that's been a big part of that development.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I could definitely attest to that, having worked with like, you know, rental properties that we wanted to, you know, turn over to a new tenant, or even properties that we're selling. Sometimes we need to almost consult the tenants or the homeowners about their property. Like we give them tips, you know, we tell them, okay, so he's coming to take photos. Try to declutter your countertops, you know, no dishes in the sink, no random items of clothing lying around on the couch, or
Keep
everything
the floors
properly
clean,
placed.
make sure there's nothing really obstructing your way, right? In the end of the day, it should be a really easy process, and right, we're trying to showcase the property as best as we can, and that's also like what you're trying to do, right?
Yeah.
And just paving the way.
Yeah, because I've seen some terrible photos out there, man. Like
They're out there.
they're out there. They're out there, and I've seen like dark, dim photos. Sometimes, and this kills me, I see this all the time, and we see this more specifically with the owners and landlords who want to represent their own properties. Just a little tip for you guys here: don't take a picture with somebody in the room. You know, I've seen photos like somebody was literally playing Xbox while the owner was taking a picture of the room. And like, it's great, I guess, you know, if you rent it. But like, if we're talking about presentation here and first impressions, and you got somebody in a messy room playing Xbox, I would not put that photo.
It's a faux pas, dude.
You know, I would not put that photo for sure. So
Nathan, if you had someone in front of you that was looking at getting started in real estate photography or photography in general, what direction would you point them in?
Do it. Pick up a camera. It doesn't matter if it's real estate photography or just photography in general. Pick up a camera and start shooting. I think a common misconception about photography is a lot of people are like, oh, you know what? Okay, say they have a camera and like, oh, I don't have enough time. I have to make time to bring a camera or do photography. No, you don't. If you've got an iPhone, iPhones are fantastic cameras.
Yeah.
All you got to do is walk around and take a picture.
Yeah.
So whether you've got an iPhone or another camera, just photograph, document your life. And then if that goes into something more professional, go for it.
I mean, I'm no photographer here, but I know a little bit about photography. And I would say that there's definitely an artistic approach to it, right? It is a form of art. Capturing a photo is a form of art. And a lot has to do with it. You know, lighting, right? Some photographers like have to absolutely take this shot of, let's just say it's architecture, because the lighting is right. The natural lighting is right. Or angles too.
Oh, yeah.
You know, angles, you know, have a big part of presentation and capturing the moment, you know? So let's say, you know, if you were to offer a tip to somebody who's looking to take their own photos of their property, somebody, you know, who wants to do it with an iPhone, who doesn't necessarily want to invest in professional photography, what would be some tips or your top tips that you would give to an independent owner looking to take their own photos? Although we do recommend using a professional photographer because good presentation is key and it's all about first impressions, people. But what would be your top tips for somebody who doesn't want to do that and wants to take photos on their own?
Excellent question. Horizontal. Horizontal. Wide. And also, if your camera or phone has the ability to do a wide lens, do that. Also very important is if I'm photographing this room, you want it to be level. And also like, Make your sidelines, your perpendicular lines, and your horizontal lines. Make them straight.
Yeah.
Stand at the back of a room, corner of a room. Get your angles. Clean.
That's number one.
Yep.
Yeah. You could have all the best angles, but if the property is dirty and doesn't show well, no angle, no color correction, no editing could do that justice.
If you got a pile of clothes on the bed and you want to get a good shot, take the pile of clothes off, clean it up, and then it'll look a lot better.
Or someone sitting down playing Xbox, you know, maybe just ask them to move for 30 seconds. I mean, that politely goes a long way. Politely with a smile, but that will go a long way for presentation.
Yep.
Awesome, Nathan. So, I mean, we have some rapid fire questions here. Anthony's going to ask you. We like to do this with all our guests, you know.
So indoor shots or outdoor?
Good question. Both interesting. Indoor shots, if the space is really well set up and really well lit, I love that. Outdoor shots as well. I like being outside. So again, if it's really nicely presented and wonderful, honestly, wherever I'd prefer to sit and chill. So probably indoor, but I like outdoor too.
So is there a difference between indoor shots and outdoor shots? I know that might sound like a weird question, but...
Absolutely. First off, indoor shots usually have to do longer exposures.
Okay. What do you mean by longer exposures for our listeners?
Sure. So basically in photography, your shutter opens for a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So say if I was in this room, it'd be open for maybe 1 second to capture enough light to get that picture. But if I'm outside and it's during the day, that's going to be 1/250th of a second.
Wow. Okay.
So it's going to go a lot faster.
That's very detailed.
Exactly. So mainly that's the difference is the amount of light you're working with. Yeah. So you don't really need a tripod when you're outside, but when you're inside, good idea to use one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about wide angle or a drone photography?
Drone is so fun. Drone is cool because you have a fully different perspective. It's like a bird. You're flying around, and
aerial views.
Exactly, exactly. So I love that stuff. Or wide angle is good too. I'm gonna go with drone. Drone's fun.
Yeah, I mean
different.
Those aerial shots are really cool too.
Yeah.
You know, especially when you're, taking a picture of a large piece of land.
Yep.
You know, and even just let's just say land in general on an autumn day, a drone shot really captures the beauty of those colors and that vast land, right?
Absolutely. I was in Terrebonne 2 days ago shooting this commercial space, and right next to it was a whole bunch of beautiful red trees, and I was like, this is great. I'm going to chill up here for a bit.
Yeah.
I love it. So this is a big one.
Yep.
Between Sony, Canon, or Nikon. And tell me why Sony's the best.
I'm gonna
Not
go
that
ahead.
Anthony's biased.
I'm gonna go ahead and say neither.
Okay.
I shoot with a Leica, and I love this camera very much. It does a. I can't say that. So Sony's great. Their cameras are fantastic, very technical. There's a lot of stuff you can do with them. I started on a Nikon, so shout out to Nikon for being awesome. And I also had a Canon or a few Canons. So I'm a school of all thoughts when it comes to cameras. I also shoot with a Leica, and I love this machine. It does really well. So yeah.
So let me ask you a question in regards to like the brand specifically. Okay?
Yeah.
Is there a difference between, let's say, a Sony or a Nikon or a Leica? And if so, what is the difference?
That's a great question. It's multifaceted. There's different levels. Like it all comes down to personal preference.
Okay.
So at this point in the game, each camera that comes out of the factory right now, like anything that's new, is going to be fantastic.
Yeah.
No question about it. Your image is going to be sharp. The colors are going to be good. Excellent. So it comes down to like menus, ergonomics. I got this camera because it inspires me. It's built of a block of aluminum. The files are fantastic. It's lovely to hold. It's like a big chunk. So
It just has a good feel.
it's got a great feel. So I had a Canon 6D before. Great camera. It would deliver on each project that I wanted it to, and it did it fantastically, but I wasn't inspired with it. So that's why I went with this, because if I'm going to be shooting something, if I'm going to be using this tool every day, I want to be inspired to use it. I want to pick it up. I don't want to be like, oh man, okay, I got to use this. I love this thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's like similar to cars, right? Because I know you're a big car guy, right? We all have our make, right? Some like
Absolutely.
American, some like German,
Yep.
some like Korean, Japanese. I know you're a huge Saab guy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
So I've seen all of his car photography and everything. So it's similar to that, right? We all have our flavor that we like.
Absolutely.
And it makes it a lot easier to operate with your business and even just handle.
Absolutely.
So here's an interesting question for you. Photography
Yeah.
has, since the beginning of time has just advanced so much.
Oh yeah.
And everything is digital now. But
Yep.
there was a point in time where it wasn't,
Correct.
and do you see obviously there's a difference, but what are the main differences from like the old school photography where you had to develop photographs with, I guess they use red light or whatever it was? Yeah.
Dark rooms and
dark
film
rooms.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
I mean, there must be a difference in quality and even the process too,
Oh yeah.
Digital must be much more efficient and convenient nowadays. But
Oh yeah.
the old school photography, what are your thoughts on that?
So I dabble in both.
Okay, wow.
So commercially for my clients, digital.
Obviously.
Because it's quick.
It's efficient.
It's efficient, quick turnaround time. I can dial in all my stuff and I know the results as soon as I shoot them.
Yeah.
Film, I love using film, but I shoot that for my own personal stuff. So if I'm going to go on a trip, I'm going to bring a film camera. If I'm going to go to a cottage and see my friends or whatever, I'm going to bring a film camera. The difference with that is I take a picture, I can't see it. I have to bring it to a place to get it developed.
Yeah.
And that'll come back in a week or two or whatever. And that the moment you received 4 rolls today, and it was very satisfying.
Yeah.
It was very, very satisfying.
Different type of photo though.
Completely.
A different type of shot, different type
Completely.
of capture, right? So
Completely. The intention is very different. So for clients, digital, it's quick, it works well, and you can move stuff around. Film, like if I take a picture of you, I don't know if it's in focus. I mean, probably in focus, but maybe not.
you only find out later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the magic.
Yeah. So I guess like the film is definitely for the artistic standpoint,
Yep.
the way to go, and obviously for the business, real estate photography, digital.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
It was great having you, sit down. We really appreciate you. And I think
you for
our
having
listeners too, got a good insight about the importance of proper presentation with photography, especially when you're looking to present your listing. So anyone who wants to follow you or even, get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to do so, Nathan?
Of course. You can follow me on Instagram, Nathan Von Egmond, with periods, nathan.van.egmond.
Yeah.
You can also email me. My email will be there. Nathan at NVEphoto, and it's spelled the Dutch way, NVEFOTO.com. Or you can reach out to these fine gentlemen and they can direct back to me.
Definitely. Hey, thanks again, Nathan. Seriously,
you,
it was a
man.
pleasure having you.
Yeah.
And to those listening, Please like, follow, subscribe.
To wherever you're listening, Instagram, YouTube, Apple
Spotify.
Podcasts, Spotify. Hit that like and follow button, guys.
There we go. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you.
Thank you.